What's happening? Facebook, YouTube, but I'm on YouTube's platform right now. But anyways, man, I'll let you Bowie. Anyways, I'm just taking a little stroll. Can't really, just out here just enjoying everything, scenery. Take a little stroll. My mind, just take a walk. Hey, like I said before, you gotta embrace a little darkness. Sometimes darkness is the best thing. You know, it's like the yin and the yang. You gotta have light, and you also have to have dark. And in America, we're facing a little bit of darkness right now. But what can you expect? Um, there's so many. You know how they say history repeats itself. History really does repeat itself. And I saw something today, like not the new thing now. They had Candace Owens, and they had some people, and surprisingly, a lot of people do agree with Candace Owens and what she has to say about George Floyd, and what went over a lot of people's heads, and I think it went over her heads. It's like some smart people, everybody's saying how smart she is, can say some really ridiculously dumb things. And what she fails to realize, this is exactly the racist institution that we're part of. You feel me? And she brought up, how he wasn't a good guy, how he was on drugs, how he was on this, how he was on. And to put it in a nutshell, she basically said it was justified, you know, because of his past and stuff like that. If you look at his criminal record, it was mostly because of drugs and stuff like that. And you had a lot of people co-signing it. And what's crazy about it is a lot of the same people that were doing that, the judge, like judging them and saying that, he was on fentanyl, he was on these drugs. And, and the thing about it is racism in America. And a lot of these people that were, making comments and stuff like that, they were, yeah, a lot of them, and I'm not saying all of them, they don't forget, they probably forgot about when they were in college, the coke binges that they went on, you know, because of their circumstance, their neighborhood, their social economic thing, they just didn't get caught. And Mr. Floyd probably got caught, you know. But they don't talk about, their mother, their father that's on prescription drugs, Percocet, Darvocet, Oxycontin, all those type of things. They don't talk about that because of their social economic circumstance. They don't talk about that. But the drug addicted uncle that they have that's been in and out of rehab because of his social economic circumstance. They don't talk about that. That drunk uncle, that drug addicted uncle, cousin that steals from their parents, steals from the family or whatever. They just don't get caught. It's different. George, he probably got caught. I'm just saying. Yeah, he cleaned up his act, but that doesn't matter. That's the thing. That's the whole the hypocrisy of it is they don't see that. They don't really see any of that, and they don't understand like the system of racism or institutionalized racism. You know what I'm saying? It's like George Floyd goes to prison. Chad goes to rehab. you know, Chad can turn his life around and no harm, no foul. But those same people won't have any understanding if a cop was stepping on their neck and killed their loved one. You know, how dare you bring that up? You're victim blaming. You're victim blaming. You know, just like, you know, you might have a female. Hey, supposedly, but again, in the system of racism, it doesn't count. It doesn't count at all. Um, you know, a lot of those same people, like let's just say they had a daughter, auntie, wife, very promiscuous, right? All of a sudden they get violated, you know, by an officer or whoever, you know. Uh, Imagine somebody bringing up, oh yeah, you know, she was very promiscuous, you know. Um, it was only a matter of time. See, that really doesn't apply to him. And the thing about it is this is the system that we live in. Me and you know, black person, we have a different standard. We have a different standard. We don't get no second chances, supposedly. You know, there's some stories, you know, they let people slip through the crack, but you know, it is what it is. Um, what's going on is plain as day. We've seen this over and over and over again. You know, we've seen this over and over again. You know, we've seen I mean, it's always going to be justified one way or another. You know, Rodney King, he got beat almost to death because supposedly when you're on PCP, you got, you know, superhuman strength. You know, they show people on PCP, you know, breaking handcuffs and stuff like that. I'm sure that's probably going to be some type of defense that they use against Floyd. But it's it's a whole bunch of yeah buts. It's a whole bunch of yeah buts. You know, he didn't deserve to die, but yeah, but you know, he was on fentanyl. He was passing out fake 20s or whatever. So, you know, it's kind of his fault. You know, victim blaming. But that's just what the system is. It's like that invisible system that you can't really see. And the thing about it is, you got to understand, ignorance is bliss. I hate using that statement, but ignorance is bliss. It almost sounds like a cop out. But I think a lot of white people, in particular, they don't want to really validate the racist system, because when they the racist system, it almost invalidates them. You feel me? It's nobody wants to hear that, hey, you know, they had an advantage, they had a leg up, they had a 2-mile head start. I mean, they had a 2-lap head start. They don't want to hear that. You know what? They want to know they worked hard and they got it from the muscle. They grinded, which, I mean, that's human nature. You know, you never want to be marginalized at all. But the thing is if you don't speak truth to power, we're never gonna get anywhere. And that's the thing. I think a lot of black people are misguided in this country, begging or marching or however you want to call it, asking for acceptance. And you got to understand, this system was not designed or built for us at all. It was designed for us, I mean, to be subjugated. I mean, that's right on par. This is par for the course. You know, this is par for the course. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have Nat Turner revolutions. You're going to have all that stuff, but, you know, it's going to be isolated. You might get a couple changes. You know what I'm saying? Massa might, you know, give you a couple more biscuits or whatever. You know, he might be a little bit more afraid of you. But at the same time, he's going to gear up for you. Make sure that rebellion doesn't happen again. And thoughts on all these white people and they just paid to go cloud chasing? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, it's crazy how uh, all they're gonna do is co-opt this whole movement. That's all they're gonna do. They're just this is gonna be co-opted by a lot of groups that they kind of build up, like Black Lives Matter. It's just that's just an extension of LBG was it LGBT groups. That's all that it is right there. Next thing you know, it's going to be violence against women, violence against them, and all of a sudden, because they got more fundraising power, and they're going to be able to co-opt this movement very easy because they control the media. If you look at how the media is portrayed, you got Don Lemon, you got Anderson Cooper, you got all those guys, and at the end of the day, who they really represent. You feel me? It's not gonna be real. They're gonna get most of the benefit, trust me. And then and one of the things that I saw a lot of, in the comments and on social media and stuff like that, and I've noticed this a lot, is the disdain that a lot of our brethren or whatever it's like Latinos have for black people. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of disdain, and you would think that a lot of Latinos and stuff like that would be our allies, but nah, it's not. That's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. They're looking to take our spot, and I don't even know why they're taking a look at get our spot. We never really had no spot. It's not very hard. You see a lot of them, and the thing about it is they're going to learn. They're going to learn too. They are going to learn. They're going to learn. It takes a little bit of time for them to learn. Pretty soon, but they haven't got theirs fully yet. The Chinese, they did started. It was a Chinese virus. That was just a reminder to them. Hey, you know what? You ain't part of us yet. Build that wall. You ain't part of us yet. But they're gonna learn. They're gonna learn. The thing about it is, and I think blacks in America, just blacks in the world, are a thorn and on this, just a thorn in the side, because throughout history they've been trying to get rid of the black person. You know what I'm saying? They've effeminized them. They've thrown apartheid. They've thrown Jim Crow. They threw all kinds of things to them, but still here. Still here. They separated us. They beat us. They try to dilute our race. They tried to poison us. They tried to do a whole bunch of stuff, but we're still here. And I think that kind of gets on their nerves, because the thing is you might be dominant in society, but you're not dominant genetically, and because you're not dominant genetically, you're never going to ever overthrow us. It's just like, let's think about it. It's like millions of sperm that carry our DNA, and damn near every one of you guys carry our DNA too. That that DNA. I don't care if you're the palest of pale, you probably carry some of our DNA. So you're part of us too. So you're never going to be able to wipe us out. There's nobody that's we call it 100% Caucasian or whatever. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But the crazy thing about it is is the more we keep surviving this, the harder they're going to fight. The harder they're going to fight. And the it let me catch my thought. Now that you're seeing that this big sleeping giant has woken up globally, that shit has to scare the shit out of the global minority. And I listen to Tariq Nasheed every once in a while, but you know, when he started with this whole ADOS rhetoric, I ain't really fuck with him too much. But he said something very interesting in his podcast the other day, which a lot of people don't really understand, is the trick. And the thing about it is that trick can only work for so long. Then all of a sudden the trick is going to not work anymore. You would think because of media and TV that Caucasians and white people are the global majority, and that's not the case at all. They only make up like 10% of the global population. But you know, they probably control most of the resources. You know, most of the resources, and that's crazy. Non-colored people make up 90%. Colored people make up 90% of the population. I said colored. That sounds like a derogatory term, but it is what it is. But what's funny about it is, if you look at the news and you look at everything, you would think that was not the case. You would think that, you know, whites dominate the world. Not because they control the media, they control everything. So that's why you would think that there would be a global majority. In the grand scheme of things, if you look at the world, the history of the world, America, this experiment is just a drop, not even a drop. That means a half of a drop in the bucket of the world, of world history. You know, 300 some years. That's not that long ago at all. That's a very, 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 very small part. But if you would listen to European history and you would listen to what you call American history, you would think that this dominance is, I guess, the antithesis of dominance. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. There's some countries, you know, some European countries, and there's some, you know, that's dominated the world to a larger scale. You know, Portugal, the British, what do you call it? You know, Germany. I mean, they all had their turn. This is our turn, and the thing about what's crazy about it is we don't understand that. I guess us as a country doesn't understand that being divided is going to make us way easier to be conquered. And because they don't want to give this notion of white supremacy and all this type of stuff, it's going to make it very easy for somebody to really conquer us. And if you look at China, China's going to conquer us, you know, because they got the resources and they got the resources to do it. And people don't really see it coming. You know, we got an economy that's pretty much dependent on them. And then you got this, like, this false hope and all this type of stuff. You know, and the thing is, greed is one of the reasons that this empire is probably going to be taken down. And the reason is they don't want blacks in this country to get full piece of the pie. Even though it's a little piece of the pie, they do not want us to get the whole, what our fair share of the pie is. Can't. Because they understand the dominance that we could inflict on the world. You know, if the 14 of the percent of the population was at full strength, on code, on a same accord, moving in unison, it would be and it would be too strong of a force. It would be too strong of a force because think about it, especially in America. Who's been in America before America was started? I'm talking about who built America. Seriously, think about it. Who has been in America longer, what we call America, longer than anybody else? Who? Longer than anybody else. You got it. He said, hey, no cupcake gang, how are you today? I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Just taking a little walk, a little stroll. Trying to get my YouTube back on again. Trying to get my cardio back on again. Taking it one day at a time. But what's very interesting about what's going on in this country, it's the blatant attempt to kind of muddy the waters, and it works. It works if they can muddy the waters. It's we know what they're marching about. We know what they're protesting about, but let's make it about something else. Because they're throwing everything they can to kind of shut this down. And they're trying to dismiss it as, was it protesting? Or what do you call it? Looting and, those type of things. That's what they are dismissing it as. But we all know it's bigger than that. And the thing about it is the other melanated people in this world are being awoken. And that is a very dangerous thing. They're being awoken. And them awaking the melanated people is very dangerous to this world. But anyways, man, let me get off of here real quick. I'm at my destination. Holla at your boy, man. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Man, it's tired.